Oh, hey, hi. It has arrived. We can't run from it. One final game to determine the success of your fantasy season, my fantasy season, everything everything in the balance. Hopefully, like me, all you need tonight is 28.13 combined fantasy points from Matt Stafford and Puka Nakua, and it's going to be a great evening. I'm Andy. He's Dalton Del Don. You know us. It's our final Monday night live stream actually of the 2025 season. This one follows a classic matchup on Sunday night between our respective real life teams. We'll talk about that. The Bears came up, what, 2 yards short? I think it was 2 yards short. Both defenses were kind of no-shows. Really fun game. 42-38, crazy game. How are we feeling, Dalton? You were there. You were live, and I was texting you, mocking you when your team gave it back to Caleb Williams with 2:15 remaining on the clock, which has been a recipe for disaster for most teams this year, but you guys somehow survived it.
Yeah, I've been battling a bit of a cold, but still sat through the cold. It was not super hot in Levi Stadium, but worth it. Great game. And yeah, we had to do this live stream today. There's not going to be any fantasy questions, obviously, but after the Bears Niners turned in that classic, I mean, we owe it to ourselves, if nothing else. That final play, I'm in a corner end zone, our seats, and it felt like every touchdown happened on our side, including that stop at the end
Oh,
there, right
the
in
final
front.
play was right in
Yep,
front of you?
right in front of us. Yep, right there. What a game. I mean, yeah, where to start? Pick six on the very first play, in which they also lost Trent Williams when they were already down George Kittle. I looked at my buddy who I sat next to when years ago in a playoff match. We had not reached our seats yet before Kaepernick had thrown a pick six against the Packers. He bounced back, put up 500
Yeah.
total yards, and won that game. So I'm like, remember that? That's all right. But and it turned into an epic back and forth. Purdy didn't put up 500 total yards, but he did put up 5 touchdowns, and that helped me in a league that's going to come down to tonight. Otherwise, I looked like I was out of it. So great game. Your Bears, as you said, they've been masterful in coming from behind inside the final 2 minutes. I thought, this is happening again. And even when Pinheiro made that extra point, I'm like, I turned to my friend again. I'm like, I almost want him to miss this. Make it 3 points. The Bears won't go for it on fourth. Everyone says going up six is the kiss of death. Same idea there. And then when it was 4th and 5 from the 30, I'm like, look, see, they'd be kicking a long field goal here, and then they get the first, and I'm like, I saw this coming. But miraculously, I think if Caleb throws that to DeAndre Swift, I think it's a touchdown, right? 1-on-1, if he throws it immediately.
Uh, yeah, that's probably right. I haven't really Zaprudered that thing. He wasn't under a great deal of pressure. Felt a little bit of pressure on that one, obviously, but that might be right.
Huff kind of backed away, and I think that saved the game for the Niners to get just enough.
Yeah.
He backed off, and then he rushed him. Supposedly, DJ Moore was wide open on the other side, but it was complete other side of the
Well,
play.
he was wide open on the other side, but nobody's looking to the other side. I don't know. I mean, it would be one of the first times that I've ever seen somebody roll out completely to one sideline and then go back to from
Sure.
2 yards away,
Oh, yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
the opposite end of the end zone. You missed, man. I'm done with Chris Collinsworth for a good long while, because it was an exciting game. Both quarterbacks made incredible plays, right? Like it was, I think one of the undercurrents to that game was that neither defense stopped anything at all. In fact, at one point, I was saying to my wife, like, the first team that kicks a field goal in this game is going to lose, and then the Bears kicked a field goal like 2 minutes later or something like that. But it felt that way. Like, I don't know that those are like NFC title game defenses exactly, but it was really fun. But oh my God, again, that's quite enough Collinsworth. Any incompletion by Caleb, sometimes including balls that hit his intended receiver in the hands, were just picked apart. I do not need to hear Collinsworth again for, like, I don't know, until 2026. I'm done for a little while. I think it was the play where, again, not a ton of pressure on Caleb all night, but there was one play when he was in full retreat, and like three guys pursuing him, and it was I don't know what would have happened last year, but it wouldn't have been a throwaway. It probably would not have been an incompletion, but it became a throwaway. But like Devin Duvernay is open downfield, but again, like Caleb is fully backtracking. Would have been like a hero throw. Would have been a crazy throw if he'd actually hit him. It was he definitely threw the ball in his direction, but he didn't hit him. And man, Collinsworth lit him up for it. But I don't know how anybody makes that throw. I've never seen a quarterback like consistently make that throw. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough Collinsworth. If Chris and I, we did a podcast not that long ago in which we ranked all the color analysts. Collinsworth would move down a few spots for me. It was just an absolutely brutal game.
It's funny you mention him because when we were leaving, I'd say a woman about 80 years old was walking, very crowded, leaving the game slowly, and she turned and said, great game, and she said, and the best part of it is we didn't even have to listen to Collinsworth tonight. And it's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. The strays are coming. I mean, that was that's funny that you say that. But first game in the Super Bowl era, both teams scored 21 points in the first 18 minutes. And I remember last week telling you I thought the total was too high. Just so funny. I mean, just couldn't have been more wrong there. I thought there'd be a lot of running, and DeAndre Swift scored 2 touchdowns on 9 carries. It was a pass-happy game. And these stats are silly, but I just have to tell you just because I love you. But teams were 96-0 when they scored 35 or more points, had a defensive touchdown, didn't turn the ball over or allow a sack until the Bears lost by just 2 yards. I mean, obviously, that was a coin flip. I'm shocked that came down to time. I was like, I thought, we have 2 minutes and 3 timeouts. I mean, I didn't think time was an issue, but that hook and ladder, which was a great stop, because a great play call.
It was a great stop. It was absolutely great stop. And
totally.
Yeah, I had very little respect for the Niners defense by the time we reached that final drive, and then they really made some plays. Like I don't want to put anything on Caleb in situations where I don't know. I thought the Niners defended the final play about as well as they were going to defend it. I thought the hook and ladder was like having the discipline to stay downfield and be aware of that possibility was really that was very well played. Like I thought they handled it very well. So credit to them for that. But I don't know if either one of these defenses is capable of winning back-to-back games in the postseason against really good this has been my worry with it's not even a worry. I feel like it's a truth with the Bears at this point. A defense that is almost agnostic to yards against and is entirely reliant on takeaways, you start facing good quarterbacks and good teams and good coaches, and you're not going to string together 3 or 4 games in a row in which you get 3 miracle turnovers that change a game. That was but it was fun. It was I don't know that was like a high level game exactly, but it was really fun, super fun. And definitely enjoyed it. And there was not actually a ton, like the way as you thought it through, even though the Bears were definitely in play for the number 1 seed, mathematically in play for the number 1 seed. If they win that game last night, then San Francisco has no motivation to play starters against Seattle in Week 18.
That's why the Bears were screwed. Yeah.
The Bears weren't getting the 1 seed anyway. I was trying to explain that to the family. The family wasn't hearing it; they weren't having it. But I think the 1 seed was gone.
Careful what you wish for, Niners fans, is possibly like the next week just resting their players would ultimately be more beneficial. Because that's what would have happened had they lost. But now it's selfishly, it's another game to go to Saturday night. Prime time. It might rain, but the Bears are absolutely right. The problem is if you beat the Niners, that would prevent the Niners from carrying against the Seattle team that absolutely cares. So I mean, that was the conundrum for them. But what a coaching job by Ben Johnson, just scheming wide open guys. DJ Moore was apparently sick, not playing 100%.
Yeah.
But Burden is the man, and Loveland looked awesome.
Burden looked like a star, right? He was injured on the final play, but now they're saying it's a quad injury. Maybe it's not too serious. I don't know if he'll be able to play next week, but hopefully by the postseason he'll be back. I mean, he looked like a freaking star, and it's been that way for the last month plus. Collinsworth, to his credit, did shout out Luther Burden, but it was it was the yards per route run talking point, which is fine. Like I don't know, he looks good in terms of yards per route run. It's basically JSN and Puka and Devontae Smith and then Luther Burden. But so much of it is, he hasn't run that many routes because he needed to earn the playing time that he's been getting over the last month or so. And so much of it is still tied to that one flea flicker early in the season. I don't know. It feels a little fraudulent, but I mean, he just looked fantastic, and Loveland did too. On the Niners side, man, I think Jake Tongas he's really good, and I think there's a world in which he's on another team and he's getting 8 to 10 targets a game, and that guy looks like he could be a top 5 fantasy tight end. Obviously, I think the world of George Kittle, and he is my favorite non-Bears NFL player. But my God, Tongas is good, and Ricky Pearsall looked pretty healthy too.
Yeah, so a couple things. Tonjas also had a touchdown last week that would have been ruled a touchdown.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best catches I've seen this season. Yeah. I understand why it wasn't called a catch on the field because nobody could freaking believe it happened. It was great.
Shanahan challenged like an 8-yard play on 1st and 10 earlier in the game, but didn't challenge that touchdown later. He remains the biggest enigma in my life, without a question. I mean, I was thinking about it. I don't think I'd trade him for any NFL player. Maybe Josh Allen. But then he'll just be the most maddening decision maker, punting on that 4th and 7. At least he admitted after the game he thought it cost him the game, and that did turn into a field goal drive, the field position. But that guy he can drive me crazy. But Tonjas, the thing with Kittle is he's underrated in real life because he's such an awesome blocker, and there have been these dramatic yards per carry splits him on off the field. And maybe Tonjas is learning to block because McCaffrey had the first time in his career 100 rushing yards before halftime. So that Tonjas is looking good out there, and obviously the scheme helps. Pearsall, you said he looks healthy, but he left after his first catch because he landed right on his knee, hobbled off. I thought he was done for the game for sure, but no, he came back, and you can clearly tell if he's right and he's the number one in that system, he'll put up the fantasy stats, no doubt. But fun game. Only thing negative I have to say about it is I wish you were sitting next to me. Win or lose, I wish you were there, Andy.
It would have been fun. It would have been a long trip home. I feel like the flack that I would have taken from the family for missing out on like what would end up being
it's a tough
3
time
days of family time.
Yeah.
When we
a lot of Bears fans, including a van that passed us that drove there. So they were like chanting defense when it was quiet throughout all around us. It was really pretty impressive travel. They like one of the most I've ever seen in Levi's.
I mean, Bears fans are ready for this, right? They have been waiting. I don't know. There's pent up interest in a Bears team that is worth traveling for. So no great surprise that people actually made this trip. Here's a
Daniel Tosh
question.
Daniel Tosh has a good joke that about traveling fans, and noting that you never see Dolphins fans traveling, not because they don't travel, it's because they never leave Miami, But still, the Bears they did travel well. Sorry, go ahead with the question.
Excellent question from Mike. What's the best way to frame a league mate for something that would cause them to forfeit the championship so second place wins? This is the kind of desperation that some of us are looking for right now. I don't feel like your league, if you're in it, should go to like PED testing or drug testing. So that's the only thing that really comes to mind, Mike. I'm so sorry.
I don't have a good frame job right offhand. I'll need to think of that. But it is. Sorry that it's been reduced to that. Sorry to hear they got second.
So it's Rams in Atlanta tonight, and man, we got like 4 to, I don't know, between London, Puka, Bijan, Kyron. We got like 4 guys who were drafted in the consensus top 25. We got the actual league MVP in all likelihood in Matt Stafford in this like we got a lot of relevant fantasy pieces in this game. Again, the only thing that I'm really looking for tonight is to win that Flex Vegas league that we are both in.
Oh, nice.
I need 28.13 points from Stafford and Puka, which is not asking a whole lot. In that league, they're forecast for like, I don't know, 40-something combined. It's gonna keep me awake deep into the night. I'm nervous about it. I got the fantasy sweats right now, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling focused. I feel like I can manifest it. What do you need tonight, Dalton?
Yeah, Puka's projected to score like 30 points in PPR and some like DFS projections this week. It's crazy his role, especially without Adams. All right, in one home league, I'm up about 10 points facing Drake London, so a big underdog there. Although I need him to maybe leave with his injury he's battling or something there, because it's a pretty good setup for the Falcons passing attack. Theoretically, going to be playing from behind a lot. And then another one, which is a decent payout, long running dynasty league. It's basically Bijan I have facing Stafford. So that could be fun. Probably the slight dog there, I would say. That's just only thanks to my guy Glock Purdy, because it looked like I was done, and then he put up a 40 burger for me. So
What's
Bijan,
up with Brock dancing? Has Brock
yeah, I
been?
don't know, it's silly. Whatever, he's out there having fun. Yeah,
Yeah, he
he could
is.
use some work, but yes. But the TD runs were so helpful, and yeah, that those are the two that count. And then the one I'm down 10, I actually had Caleb, so I could have been a bigger lead if not for. So I was really frustrated with those Swift touchdowns because it was hurting the Niners. And at least when Caleb was scoring, I was like, hey, I was rooting for Caleb. So that was nice, but also so conflicting. I had CMC in one league, had him in another. So much going on. But that's nice. The primetime games, last night, 1,000,000 points, and then as you said tonight, so many stars involved. So to come down to the season. Yeah, I know people are battling for $2 million in best ball, with it's a ton on the line. So should be a fun one. And the Rams don't have a ton of incentive, I believe, but they're not resting players 2 games, for 2 straight weeks. And Stafford has the MVP on the line. So I think they're definitely going to go all out.
Yeah, MVP on the line for Stafford, and Drake May coming off a huge game. You can't just sit Stafford for 2 weeks. I can't imagine. It's probably bad practice to do that. Next week, sure. This week, probably no. Man, I had one best ball team that had advanced to this week, and I thought it was very live, and it might, I don't know. I haven't checked it in a while, and I had Loveland on it, so he had a game. So I don't know. I'm sure the money is fine right now, but I did not have Derrick Henry on that team, and I checked in after the Derrick Henry game to see how many people did at the top, and there's just no hope for me there. So
Yeah.
but it was like it was a lineup that I felt like, I don't know, it had Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt on it, so I got points right out of the box from a guy that I wasn't expecting anything from, and it felt very possible, and now it's clearly doomed.
I heard a lot of people say week 17 felt like a week 18, and it so did, man. JCM I was able to add right before Rodriguez was ruled out, and Malik Willis was the top 3 QB this week, and he was added in super flexes. And I mean, a lot of stars put up duds. I have a dynasty league that I'm talking about tonight where I have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Jalen Hurts. I mean, those are. I mean, it's really and Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, imagine. I mean, it's crazy the amount of actual flops and when it mattered most.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my Kings Classic draft. I'm gonna lose that league by 4 or 5 points. It has Gibbs. It has. I mean, I don't want to JSN has had an incredible season. I have him on literally every team. And it was a fine game, but it wasn't like a blow-up game. I would have needed a blow-up game from him. Justin Jefferson on that team. It was just very clear after the Thursday games that this is probably not happening. And then I made a week out of it, but didn't quite get there. So yeah, what I need is basically, I need Puka, I need Stafford, and I need Bijan to stay well ahead of Colby Parkinson or something like that. So a little bit on the line. So I gave you an assignment, and we might get a handful of questions in here, but I gave you an assignment for this one. Just something to come up with a list of, and I want you to give me a list of 5 guys. I asked you to not tell me the names in advance, just 5 guys that you're excited to draft in 2026, keeping in mind we have no idea what anybody's ADP is going to be. And, if the ADP is terrible, you're probably not going to get them. But you have some influence over what ADP is going to be. So let's just count them down. I got a few guys, you got a few guys. Let's go.
Yeah, my first is Malik Neighbors. I'll just stick with my guy. I feel like the injury happened so early in the year. In a way, it's beneficial for him to heal the shoulders that he's been dealing with for many years, the toe injuries. So just get those multiple surgeries. Get there with Jackson Dart. They finally have a quarterback. I understand there's question of how durable he can be, but I just think Malik Neighbors is a star who's capable of finishing as the #1 overall fantasy player and will be healthier than he's been in many years. So I'll take him in the mid-second round, as which I feel like he will fall to after last year's disappointment.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, is that where you think it's a pretty light fall, just to the middle of the second round?
Yeah, I think people will still, he's monster young and stuff. So I'm not expecting a greater fall than that, but I'll still take that as a discount of a guy capable of finishing #1 overall in PPR.
I didn't flesh full list, and oh man, the Harris community will hate me for saying it, but I'm pretty interested in Jackson Dart next year.
Oh yeah.
Acknowledging that it was a total roller coaster season, but the high points were great. Like that guy made some throws against Denver that were of high quality. That guy made some plays against Philly that were legit, against Chicago, against the not like they had. I don't know. They faced a real schedule, and he had some games, and it wasn't clean. The Minnesota game was an absolute disaster, and they I don't know. That felt like self-sabotage. That was crazy. Nobody should avoid their quarterback at the level that Kafka did. So that was, whatever. There's some hiccups in there, but even with that Minnesota game, in which I think he scored like low single digits, right? Fantasy wise, he still averaged over 20 points per week in his starts. Really interested in Dart. Interested to see what he looks like with actual competent receivers. I mean, like we can all feel good about the Wan'Dale Robinson season. That was the worst receiving core in football. That was terrible. Throwing a Darius Slayton, trying to make a 1,000-yard receiver out of Wan'Dale. That was rough.
But supporting Wandale as a top 25 PPR fantasy helps you think that he can really help neighbors as well. So yeah, Dart, the designed runs may go down in preventing injury, but he's still, he's definitely born to scramble. I mean, 2 TD rushes against the Raiders. So I will definitely be interested in Dart, and hopefully he's not, his ADP isn't too high based on the concern, because he has so much fantasy upside.
Okay, so give me another name.
Okay. Oh, you want me to keep going? Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Jeremiah Love is my second one.
Oh my gosh. The Harris football people are going to hate this. Yeah.
Not a college football guy at all. One of those people that just saw, Notre Dame on NBC as a kid a lot, and they're on the background or whatever. But this guy just looks like an absolute monster. And a lot of these depend on what happens in the off season. But you know me, who likes to draft young players, and I can see myself reaching for this kid, where if he falls in a situation that looks like he's gonna, there's a path to feature back them.
So Chris and I were just talking about this. Do you think we're going to do the Ashton Genty thing again? Do you think he's going to go inside the first round? Do you think it's going to be second round?
No, I would think more mid-second. But yes, if we go Ashton Genty route with him, then I will absolutely change. Maybe. Because I actually didn't end up with much Genty this year, because even that was a little too rich for me. If he's first rounder, then I will subject to change.
Well, Genty also kind of went in the Christian McCaffrey spot, right? So like you were taking one or the other, and there was a very right answer there and a very wrong answer there.
Or taking Neighbors here, but yeah, that was wrong as well. but yeah, no. If Jeremiah Love, which I project to be like maybe ADP 17, 18-ish or something mid-second, I would be all over that. If him or Neighbors, I'm already right there debating right now.
Yeah, I'd be in on 18. I probably wouldn't be in on 8, but I might be in on 18.
Okay, okay. So if he goes that high, then yes, I 100% could see that me changing.
Just breaking in with a question here. If DJ Moore isn't in Chicago next year, how would you rank a Dunze against Burton? One above the other significantly, or would they be close together? I think a lot of people's disappointment with Rome Odunze second half wise is actually this current injury. It sounds like he's been dealing with this for some time. It finally caused him to miss games, but I think it's been a real issue for a while. So that's a thing. I do think he had some, he had some drops early in the year, even when he was binging, even when he was scoring each week. But I think in the scenario that you have created here, and I don't know that it actually comes to pass, but I don't hate the idea. I don't hate the idea of the Bears going into next season with Odunze and Burton and Loveland as their featured receivers. I get it. They've not fully utilized DJ Moore for whatever reason. He was an absolute hero of the Packers game, but it hasn't always been great. So this does seem like a possibility. I'm gonna have them both. Dunze is probably higher. He's the perimeter receiver. He's the guy that Caleb was peppering him early in the year. He loved him last year. He quite often looks for Rome Odunze in scramble situations, and Caleb is often at his best in scramble situations. So I'm gonna have Odunze a little bit higher, but I love everything we've seen from Burton, and I think they can both be like, I don't know, one's a high end one's a high end wide receiver 2, one's a low end wide receiver 2, or I don't know, right at that line, like somewhere near wide receiver 24, 25. How do you feel?
Yeah, Burton, I wanted to bring up to you because he's going to be very interesting next year's draft tables. I'm seeing a lot of hype after last night's performance. I see some people I respect have him as a top 36 pick. I saw someone else I respect have him as a top 12 receiver next year. And as you mentioned
I'm
earlier,
probably never going to get
there
him if
are
he's a top 12
some
receiver
there are
next year.
some
Like that's,
concerns that
that's,
there again that I'm not saying that's where his ADP is going to land, but
yeah,
it'll certainly land top 24. I think because you're going to look at that yards per route run, and you're going to look at this finish. But as you pointed out, the yards per route run is in limited routes. One of them came on that flea flicker, and all this stuff happening at the end is without a Dunze on the field. So if they're
yeah.
sharing, it's going to be obviously much more less condensed. And yeah, so I could see the hype getting too far as ADP, because right now everyone's super excited. They saw him in primetime light it up, and he certainly looks good. Truth or burden. I mean, he definitely looks legit. I think it'll be a 50-50 who has the better fantasy season, him or a Dunze next year.
Yeah, I'll just little spoiler here. If we're talking about 5 guys that I am excited to draft in 2026, Burden and Colston Loveland are both on that list. Loveland has been quietly pretty great outside. Whatever, the Cincinnati game was a splash game for him, but outside of that, I feel like people haven't really appreciated how good he's looked. I think that guy's awesome, and I thought the way that he was used downfield at Michigan was really promising. We've seen a little bit of that from the Bears. I think that guy's going to be really good. And again, in the scenario that the questioner creates, where DJ Moore is not there, there's plenty to go around. And I think Loveland gets a lot, and I think he'd be an easy top 6-ish fantasy. That's not even saying much.
No.
A real contender for top 3 status at
Yeah.
the position in a world without DJ Moore next year.
I told you a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I think Loveland over Warren looks like the right call just watching him. And yeah, when that opportunity grows, so will his fantasy production. Not that they both can't be great picks, but I actually had Burden / Loveland on this list, but we talked about them. So I'll move on. My next guy is Breece Hall, who showed that he has explosion still. He's all but assured to leave the Jets. So
I love this.
if he lands in Kansas City, obviously his ADP will be super high and reflect that. But I'm in on this guy who clearly was playing injured last year and has been in the most dreadful situation the last two years. And he's an awesome player who's capable of being a 3-down back, still in his prime. He'll sign elsewhere, and I'll be back in.
Kansas City's the dream, right?
That's the dream. Yeah.
Almost everywhere else is a better landing spot, clearly. But it wasn't it ended up being wrong, but we weren't crazy for making a case for Breece Hall as a top 5 overall pick, a couple years ago. He's that good. He's that versatile. He sure seems like he could string together seasons that look a little bit like, I don't know, the best of Alvin Kamara with maybe a little bit more rushing included. So a little bit of it is going to be the landing spot, but again, almost everything is better than staying with the Jets. In fact, literally everything is better than staying with the Jets. So I like this call a lot. And too soon, of course, to speculate on where Breece Hall might land next year. But I'm right there with you. Who else you got?
I have a couple more. And then we did talk about that last week about the Patriots dealing with those injuries on defense, and it was basically one big play. But Hall did pay the bills in fantasy last week with that long run that definitely helped a lot of people that probably weren't in the fantasy championship with him on their team. All right, I have a couple guys I'll mention after this, but my final guy, because I was going to say it's Burden, but it was another one that obviously depends on landing spot, but it's just timely here. Malik Willis, someone's going to pay this guy to be a starting quarterback, and he'll be drafted. Don't get me wrong, he'll get hype, but he'll be the QB 20 or something, and he'll have QB 10, top 10 upside in obviously has to be the right system. Leaving LaFleur is a question. How is this guy going to do when he's not, the backup coming in? I just don't see this as a Matt Flynn situation where he's throwing screens, getting paid. I think they're going to see this. Looks to me like what we hoped Trey Lance would become. He's carrying the ball 10 times a game, and he's throwing the ball downfield suddenly to Watson. So there is just fantasy upside here. He's going to be a team starter. There's so many spots that are looking for a quarterback. I think he's going to get paid, and he's going to be a fantasy contributor right away just because of those legs.
What do we think the deal is going to look like? I was actually thinking about this earlier today. It's not it hasn't been a full season, right? The Ravens game was great. It was especially great for fantasy purposes, but it was great. He's looked really good, and it is very much to Matt LaFleur's credit that he has designed an offense that functions beautifully with his backup on the field, even though his backup has a very different skill set than his starter. It's been awesome. So departing from LaFleur is a little bit of a
Big
concern, is
time.
a little bit of
Yeah.
an issue, but and then of course we don't know the landing spot. But this isn't like Sam Darnold put together a full season that was great before his deal, instead of just flashes in some isolated games. So what do you think that is it like a 1 year, 2 year prove it type of deal, or does it have to be longer because he's a quarterback?
Yeah, I'm really bad at contracts, but even if it is a 2-year prove it deal, I'm fine with it as far as a fantasy manager. And what if he lands up in Miami with Mike McDaniel and those weapons? That would be a fun one. Or I don't know, maybe even Atlanta is unsure with all the Penix. But there's so many quarterback openings. I mean, Arizona's going to be looking for one. Vegas, obviously. But there's concern leaving LaFleur, and I have no idea what deal he'll get or where it'll be, but he'll be a guy I'll be totally excited to draft, because those are the best the best quarterbacks are the ones that just have the rushing upside that you can just draft in the after round 10 with easily.
Benson is just trolling so hard right now. This is outrageous. Luther Burden is the new Brian Thomas Jr. Is it. Keep Luther Burden's name out of your mouth. That's horrendous. Titans signing Brees Hall would also
It
be
may
a bit
not
of a
be
nightmare.
as in on him then, but all right. Well, I'll just throw you a couple more before we get to yours. And they're all just situations, or a couple that are situations like what happens with Ashton Genty. Can the Raiders improve their situation? I loved what I saw from him, but that'll take a leap of faith if you have confidence they can. Same with Ted McMillan. What is going to happen there? Is it going to be another year with Bryce Young? Or if they get basically any other passer there, I'll be really interested in him, because he can play far better than his production showed last year. And then Rashee Rice, maybe his ADP is slightly depressed coming off the big suspension, the injury at the end of the year. Xavier Worthy proved to be not a target earner. Maybe it was the injury, but Rice's role was just so valuable. How he's used in the red zone. Give me Rice, and I hope he's suppressed a little coming off a year that didn't start till late and ended early. And Justin Jefferson, just a buy low. I mean, one of the best receivers of our generation. And I have confidence in Kevin O'Connell somehow figuring out that quarterback position. And then we already talked about Dart. So those are my guys.
I'll be a little bit surprised if Justin Jefferson slips outside the first round.
I agree.
Because he's that good, and either they're going to have another name at quarterback, or where the propaganda around McCarthy is going to be such that we're all back in on Justin Jefferson.
Sure.
And again, Jefferson is 90 yards a game, like throughout his career, and I think it's going to get better. And I think we will inevitably take him in the first round. Now, it might be that like he goes as like the overall number 9 or 10 player, and by the end of the year, it should have been 2 or 3.
Right.
But I can't imagine I don't even know if I want to live in a world in which Justin Jefferson falls outside the first round. He's great. So I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I don't think there's going to be that much of a Rashee Rice is probably a second round player next year, right? Do you think that's
that's fair. Oh yeah, that's fair too.
He might go where like AJ Brown went this year. So like back half of the second round, but I think he's going to be a second round player.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't do any more fun late ones other than Malik Willis, but we'll circle back when we get closer to the year. Let's hear yours, Andy.
I was also going to say that I think Ted McMillan is really interesting, and Chris and I just did a thing on the podcast last week about players where like I think I'm going to be out on them at ADP, and Ted McMillan right now is like the wide receiver 14 or 12 or something like that. He like this year has been good. It's also happened with Bryce Young, and some of these games are like, recently he'll score a touchdown and only catch like 2 balls, and so it like the week feels fine for fantasy, and the year-end numbers are going to look good. And I've been really impressed by him. Like he's been better than I would have guessed coming into the year, but I'm worried that maybe Burden ends up being this guy, and or Adunze ends up being this guy, and I don't have to worry about it with Ted McMillan. But I'm a little bit worried that he becomes one of those players that like the best ball guys and the high stakes guys who draft in spring. There's a lot of helium here, and they draft him ahead of where he finished this year, and they build in some expectations that I just don't like. I don't know if Bryce Young can get him there, and I don't think it's a given that Bryce Young isn't the quarterback in Carolina, right? They might go to the playoffs.
I know. They win the division and they have him under contract. I totally hear you. He could be exactly the same as Marvin Harrison Jr. Guys like me saying, oh, he's going to make a leap and look how good he's better than his production, but the same quarterback problem. So again, I reserve the right to change if they bring back Bryce Young and his ADPs like that. I'm with you, and I will actually avoid him. They get him a quarterback, wheels up. But yes, I hear you. And maybe right now that is the odds. Is they're gonna. Well, I think they're probably will lose to Tampa, but I don't know. If you're Carolina, to me, I feel like you have to move on. But maybe they disagree.
They might lose to Tampa, but Tampa can lose. I mean, both teams can lose to absolutely anybody right now, and both have lost to the Saints. Saints are fun, but Tampa can lose to absolutely anyone. So it's I don't know if there's a scenario where both teams lose that game. It seems in play. That like I have no idea, but I wouldn't feel confident if I were a Bucks fan.
That's fair. They'll probably tie.
Let's see. So I've gone through Burden and Loveland and Jackson Dart, and that one, those could all look bad for different reasons. It won't surprise people to learn that I'm really excited for the next step for Harold Fannin. Huge caveat being like, who is the freaking quarterback of that team? I have no idea. I don't know that it's Sanders. I don't know that it's anybody on the current roster. It would be pretty dismal and bleak if it's Deshaun Watson again. Man, Fannin had a year. And it might be over. Like, he aggravated the groin injury that he went into the weekend with and had to exit early.
On a touchdown catch.
Yeah, managed to score a touchdown before he left, so it was a fine fantasy week. I just think, and I feel like I wrote extensively about Fannin after week one, but I can't think of very many tight ends who've just debuted with the kind of usage that Fannin was getting. Out of the backfield, lead blocker, split wide, inline, in the slot, catching passes from everywhere. I was just wowed by him really early. And of course, by the end of the season, he was operating in an area of the field that is the only area of the field that Shedeur Sanders is looking to target. So they were a natural fit. I'm assuming no Njoku in Cleveland next year. I mean, Harold Fannin is going to finish this season. Well, if he were actually able to finish it out in week 18, but like just through week 17, he's a top 5 tight end right now. He's depending on your scoring system, he's either like the tight end 3 or the tight end 4. It's been great. He looked awesome. And he may end up being the best answer from this rookie class. When the question the whole time was Loveland or Warren, it might end up being Fannin. I just think that guy is really good. But again, like, I'm petrified about what the quarterback situation is going to look like.
No one's talking about his weird gait anymore these days. Yeah, what a monster. Yeah. And he might creep as high as the 3rd, 4th round when we entering next year. But it'll be deserving. And even putting up the production with Sanders as a quarterback is so impressive. So, yep, with you and Fannin, I'll happily draft him next year as well.
Oh, I like this. Breece Hall to New Orleans. Breece Hall as like the next Alvin Kamara is a great idea. I didn't put him on my list, but let's talk about Tyler Shuck for a second, because this is like, he's closed the season with like 5 games that are better than playable for fantasy. They're all 20-point games. Like, he looks good. He's got more rushing juice than I had sort of factored into his fantasy profile. Looks, I don't know, he can clearly support a number 1 receiver in Chris Olave. They, like, I don't know, some of the play designs have been great. Olave is obviously a very good player, and Shuck has fed him. This looks pretty good. Like, I don't know, 300-yard games aren't out of the question for Shuck. What's your temperature on him going into next year? I will also say that the big caveat with Shuck is he's a few days older than Trevor Lawrence. Right. So he might be as good as he ever gets.
Yeah, been DFS gold for the last month as a cheap salary. Kellen Moore is an awesome play caller. Yeah, if he enters the guy in next year as the clear guy, I mean, their quarterback is so deep, it's hard to say. But I mean, he has maybe ranked as a top 20 guy because of his running. I mean, he'll be treated as a top 15 in the right matchups, weekly starter. So I'm with you. It's been impressive. And that running, he did it last week without the running, the fantasy production. 300 yards outside of the dome. Yes, Tennessee's a pass funnel, but very impressive. And I wasn't sure if Olave the quarterback switch was going to hurt. But boy, it's obviously it helped with the Vele going down. It's helped the targets come back. But Olave's been a monster 2 weeks in a row, and yes, Shuck is proving the doubters wrong, and he looks like their starter next year.
Shuck or Jackson Dart if you're building a franchise.
Well, Dart, the age too, right?
Age,
Dart,
right?
yeah.
22 versus 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both are fun
right.
fantasy, though. Both are absolutely what you want in fantasy.
Where do you think you're going to rank Shuck? Shout out to Kevin Payne, who has a perfect attendance record in basically everything we do, in chats, in watch-alongs. Good for you, Kevin, and good luck to you. After a 12-year drought, bringing home his 6th title in the home league. Wow, been a while. People were starting to talk. People were starting to question if the game had passed you by, but no, apparently it has not. Good work by you. Yeah, so where do you think you're going to rank Shuck? I'm not going to hold you to it.
No, I was thinking top 20-ish, I feel like, with the rushing upside, because there's so many good quarterbacks. Maybe he'll creep in more top 15, but quarterback's so deep. But I don't know. What do we in between 15 and 20? What do you think?
Probably right. He's probably going to be close to 15.
Maybe more close to 15.
Yeah, closer to 15 than 20.
That's fair. Totally. Yeah. No.
I'll say the last guy that I had on my list of names I'm legitimately excited to draft in 2026. This is kind of boring. He's a vet. Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert, and I know that this is one of those names where when I say nice things about Justin Herbert, I certainly don't get pushback from the Harris football community because Chris loves him, and he should love him. This guy has played heroically this year in just dire, desperate circumstances that I feel like most quarterbacks would not have made it to the end of the season and certainly would not have been viable fantasy plays without both tackles, both of whom are like impact offensive linemen, and led to him being among the most pressured quarterbacks in football and the most sacked quarterbacks in football, and he's playing with one hand right now. And it hasn't the numbers certainly haven't been great over the last month and a half. The actual experience of watching some of these throws has been tremendous, though. And man, I am excited for a world in which Justin Herbert gives us 17 games and is reasonably well protected.
Oh, first I want to Herbert. I'm in on if he ever stays healthy. And the offensive line as well. It's great his rushing ability. He can turn in a Josh Allen season. Like he has that type of upside if things go right. There's been talk of MVP. People have been Solak's been pushing that. Just given the surroundings or whatever. But Herbert's a man. I'd love for him to stay healthy 1 year because it looks like he's in just agony. And we're going to see my guy Trey Lance to finish the year because of it. I want to circle back to Shuck and talk just Kellen Moore gets the assignment. That's really helpful with what Shuck is doing and the importance of these coaching changes. We said worrying about Tampa Bay and we liked Jacksonville because of Liam Cohen. It didn't look great the first month. Both ways, right. But boy, Tampa Bay has fallen off since you can't really blame the injuries unless it's Mayfield, the one injury, because even when his receiver's back, they can't move the football at all. And Jacksonville is just so efficient and doing it despite Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Disappointing. And then also, and what's the other? Ben Johnson. I mean, you would know a little bit about how that's helped the Bears. And while the Lions still help fantasy managers, no question, their production, dropped off dramatically. And even when Dan Campbell took over calling plays, I think that's going to be influenced by a schedule and whatnot. There was still, a dramatic drop off with Ben Johnson. So those might be outliers that we're not going to see this offseason, but something that fantasy managers should pay attention to. The coaching changes can be dramatic.
Yeah. Let me pivot and give you a guy that that I happen to root for a little bit, and I have found his season very satisfying because we hyped him a little bit, more than a little bit, back in the summer, and it wasn't looking great all the time, but over the last 2 months, it's been spectacular. Trevor Lawrence, obviously a beneficiary of the coaching change. I don't want to this has been a pretty friendly schedule. That's really where I'm going here. I think he's good, and I think his best traits are very rare traits, and I am thrilled that they let him run this year because I feel like, for 4 years, I've been a little bit of a broken record about how just allowing Lawrence to run, giving him a few designed runs, giving him more options. could really unlock his fantasy potential because he was just a thrilling runner at the college level. Not wasn't used like Tebow or anything like that. And I'm not trying to say that he's Lamar Jackson, but he's closer to Josh Allen than he gets credit for. And I found it very sad. What's he sitting on now? Like 9 rushing touchdowns.
Nine.
This was always, they could have done this from the start. Like this could have just simply been the plan for Trevor Lawrence. This isn't like an accidental fluky thing. Like I don't know, if you're a child and don't remember Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, go look up Trevor Lawrence highlights at Clemson. Like 1 out of every 5 is like a brilliant run. This guy can run a little bit. He's really good. So I'm glad they've unlocked that. The thing I can't get away from, and again, he had a day against Denver. He was really good against a very good defense. But some of these other defenses, it's been like the Colts twice. It's been obviously the Jets. He just absolutely detonated against the Jets. He saw Tennessee, saw Arizona. So like it's been, I don't know, it's been kind of a layup line lately. Where do you think you're going to be? And Lawrence, I think right now is like the maybe after tonight he'll be like the QB4 or something like that on the season. But he's going to finish as a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Like if you account for Week 18, he's I don't know, he's probably going to play. I don't know, he'll put up numbers. This is going to be a good end to the season for Trevor Lawrence. Where do you think you'll be at on him next year? Are you going to him as like a top 8 quarterback?
Yeah, I was gonna say top 8-ish because there's still, Josh Allen, Drake May, Lamar, Hurts. Then you could, start talking to yourself. Burrow will go, Stafford, Prescott. Lawrence coming off the 9 TDs. I mean, we could be talking top 5-ish. Actually, look at his pedigree and the system he's in and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I probably one of those that I won't pay for the ADP coming off the career year, but I think I wouldn't fault someone to ranking him in that 5 to 8 range in quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about Brenton Strange as a potential breakout tight
Totally.
end. We're going to be super excited about
BTJ.
Travis Hunter.
BTJ bounced back.
Healthy.
Myers is locked in. Yeah, no doubt. I know great coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm not saying he's gonna regress.
I mean, the
his-
weapons are going to be better than they are right now. It's going to be like another full clean off season with Liam Cohen building off however they finish this year. I don't know. I think I'll have him like QB7, QB8-ish. But I also feel really conflicted and uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, no, but the running is all the difference, and that's really helping. 9 rushing touchdowns. That's huge. And as you said, this is not a fluke. I mean, this has been in his bag the whole time, and he's not even calling design runs for him yet. Cohen said, "I'm going to start doing that more," and we haven't seen that really. He's been doing it mostly on his own, and it's been impressive and nice to see. We both liked him entering the year, and I'd given up halfway through the year, so I was wrong. It's never happening. It's not the prince we were promised, but it turns out maybe just patience. He's going to be.
They've both been great, so it's not critical. But I'm in 2 different leagues where I have Lawrence and Purdy, and I think I picked. I'm sure I picked up Purdy off the wire at some point when he was injured. I'm getting that call wrong. I've gotten it wrong for like 4 straight weeks, and it's not like the other guy's always been fine, but the guy on my bench is always scoring 40 points. Like I had Purdy's 40 burger or whatever it was on the bench last week. I regret that I had Trevor Lawrence's Jets game on the bench. That feels terrible. But I'm just getting it wrong constantly. Where do you think we're going to be at with Purdy next year?
Probably like the 10 to 12-ish range, a little behind Lawrence, but maybe 10, as high as 10 or 8 or 9, 8 to 10, right around there, right after Lawrence.
Oh, this is a good
He
question.
runs too, is a thing. I mean, he's dealing with the toe, suppressed that too this year. But I mean, that's the thing with him too, is he's sneaky, pretty good runner. Hey, the same split time as Lamar Jackson. Let's not forget that. It was reminded on Monday night. People saw. Sorry, Sunday night. People saw that.
Jaden Daniels or Trevor Lawrence?
See, I forgot about Jaden Daniels. I will probably be ranking Jaden Daniels higher I'll be ranking that upside higher.
I'm not sure. I'm glad I don't have to do it now. I'm really glad I don't have to do it now. Like let's just see what all the offensive weapons are in Washington this time, not this time next year, but in like 6 months or so. I'm not sure. I think they're kind of close. Obviously,
5 and 6, something like that.
I mean, again, like Trevor's going to finish as like the QB3 this year. So we're going to look at him and we probably won't say they have the same ceiling, but I don't know. They might kind of have the same ceiling. Like if Trevor Lawrence can be a guy who finishes with 10 rushing touchdowns, like how much more do we think Jaden Daniels can do as a runner than 500 yards and 10 touchdowns? Like that might be where Trevor comes in. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
And he's unquestionably more of an injury risk. I mean, no question. Daniels is. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it looks like I will not be getting the JCM tattoo in the league where I suggested that I might get a tattoo of the ad drop that involved Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt on Thursday morning. An actual Christmas miracle, finding JCM on the wire on Thursday morning. I suggested I might get a tattoo if I won that league. It's looking like I won't.
That's too bad.
I don't think that's 100%, but it's looking like that won't happen. I feel terrible about it.
That's too bad.
Jacksonville path to the Super Bowl could be Buffalo versus the Chargers at New England. Is there a good team this year? I mean, there are good teams, but like, do you look at this playoff field and say, oh yeah, we're headed for whoever versus whoever? Like
Not
Chris
at
and I
all.
were going back and forth on this a little bit last night with respect to the two teams that happen to be playing. But I was like, I don't know. I don't see a team without flaws. I don't like, maybe the Rams are the best team in the NFC, but that's not clear to me. And they might be the, I don't know, they might be like the 5 or the 6 seed, right? Like I have no idea. Seattle and Houston are the only two that like literally the only two in the playoff field on either side where I feel great about the defenses. Maybe Denver, but I don't feel as good about Denver's offense. I don't know. Like I see problems everywhere. I'm going to have a terrible time like ranking the player pool for playoff fantasy leagues. I have no idea.
Yeah. You got to just love this instinctively. I'm like, wow, the Rams are going to be so high on that because they might be the best team and get a first round game.
Like they get a first round game. Yeah.
So I mean, they might just go all Rams. Yeah. It's the most wide open season I can think of, without question. The Patriots and Broncos, if you look at the list of opposing quarterbacks, it's laughable that they faced this season. But they're all solid teams and deserving of their seeds. But I'm with you. Anyone could win this. My Niners are one win away from being the 1 seed with an awful defense. I mean, yes, there's not a team that stands out. And if I did have to choose, it would be the Rams. And I would, God, I've been saying Buffalo, but I mean, if Allen is, I was driving during that game, so I was watching it while we were driving to the game. Is Allen's foot clearly hurt? I mean, clearly injured. I mean, did it affect his mobility? He rushed 2 touchdowns.
It didn't seem like it completely compromised him, but he also did get X-rays on it after the game. So like you don't do that if you're not feeling anything, and it's fine, for sure. So it's clearly bothering him. It's clearly an issue. It feels like the kind of thing where, but I also can't say that I was watching Josh Allen thinking, oh, it wasn't like watching Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones was playing on a broken leg and they didn't roll him out and like they did. Right. It's not like that. Daniel Jones just like flat out could not move. So I don't feel like it's like that at all. I think he looks mostly like Josh Allen. But man, did he whiff on like a perfectly wide open Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
Like good play, looked good, should have worked. That's a rough one. If that had been Caleb missing Khalil Shakir, my God, Collinsworth would still be talking about it 24 hours later. We would never hear the end of it.
I was going nuts at the time. I was watching that sitting in the parking lot. How Nance was dumbfounded why the Bills wouldn't want to call a timeout to make the time 18 seconds to 8. And I'm like, it's the last. It was, and then when they didn't get the 2-point conversion, and I'm like, if they get this onside, then I'm going to look like the dumb one because Nance is going to be like, they should have had 10 more seconds left. I'm like, oh man, but it was just really funny to me how they were confused that they would. And I'm like, no, they want less time on the clock because the Eagles are going to get the ball back here, guy, and they only have 1 play. So anyway, that was a wild 13-10 or something. I mean, I didn't miss a ton of what I did see. I mean, very ugly game there. But anyway, the point was, I thought the Bills, if I was forced to pick out of the AFC, but I don't think many people would agree with me.
I don't think I'd take the Bills. I don't think the Bills have enough. I don't. But also, like, I look at the AFC
you take
and you can
one. You
can find easy flaws anywhere. No one. well, I won't say that no one would surprise me because the Chargers would definitely surprise me. I would be shocked if the Chargers came out of it. Denver wouldn't surprise me. Houston wouldn't surprise me. Shoot, New England wouldn't surprise me, but Denver would probably be my mild favorite, my slight favorite. They are not playing their best football right now, though.
Yeah, Steelers would surprise me if they somehow win it, but even the Ravens wouldn't, right? If they snuck in.
The Ravens would
I mean,
not surprise me.
right.
That's the thing. And I might even they've given me no reason to feel this way, but I might even feel better about the Ravens than I would the Bills.
No,
and in both cases, it's
understandable.
just that these might be the best quarterbacks remaining in the tournament, right? Like that's all it would come down to. But I don't feel like I see enough around Josh. If Josh Allen dragged this sorry team to a Super Bowl, immediate Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, and yeah, everyone's like, well, if he doesn't without Mahomes and Burrow and maybe Jackson, it's like on the other hand, and like look at his teammates, and his
No. Yeah,
well,
if you drag
yeah.
a team led by Khalil Shakir and a defense that cannot stop the run and can barely stop other things, I don't know. I would be wowed. That would be one of the most heroic things that we have ever seen across sports. That would be Dirk Nowitzki. That would be Dirk's title. That would be crazy. It would be a crazy achievement.
By the way, everyone should play fantasy football in the playoffs. It's so fun. It's
so fun.
7 people now because of the 14 teams works great. To just and it's so much strategy. And this will be really crazy trying to figure out who's going to play the most games. It'll be most wide open ever for that.
Yeah, we should probably try to host I should figure out how to host a tournament somewhere. We should do that for the Deep Shot Yacht Club community. That'd be really fun. Stressing, down by 46. You have Puka, Stafford, and London. Are you crazy to be? No, you should be stressing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm down by 28.12 with Puka and Stafford still going, and I'm freaking out. Yeah, you should be stressing. This is the fun. This is what you signed up for. It's totally winnable, but you're right at that line, and you need Drake London to be a little bit better than he was last week, and we both need the Rams to actually care about Matt Stafford's stats, even though I don't know they don't have a ton to play for. I'm nervous. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah, I think Benson mentioned, if Puka does his usual get banged up early on, maybe they don't, rush him back out there either type thing because it's not a necessary game. But I think your projections probably put you around 50-50 or something. So absolutely, I'd be stressing for sure. Everything kind of needs to go right, so yeah.
Most fraudulent playoff teams, you're not allowed to say the Bears because I will end this stream immediately. Go.
Well, it'll be the Panthers or Bucks or Steelers would be the answer, right? Yeah.
Oh, the Steelers. The Steelers missing it under these circumstances, essentially because of the DK suspension. I mean, my God, did they need DK Metcalf on the field?
I was going to bring that up. They don't ever treat even a star receiver, maybe 1 to 2 points in the point spread, but I was thinking, I'm like, DK Metcalf literally was like probably the difference of that game. All those fades are thrown at the end, MVS versus him.
To MVS. Like three straight to MVS, right?
I mean, that probably really was the difference in that ugly, ugly game.
That's a big question. Can the Seahawks defense win them a Super Bowl? I don't know. It gave up 1 million yards to Matt Stafford just a couple weeks ago. So that's just the thing. Like current era, like no defense, I think, can win you a Super Bowl is the answer. It sure helps. Like if you can get, this is where Houston could really be a problem. Like it really helps in postseason football if you can get pressure with like 4 guys, right? And they can do it. And not many other teams can do it, so that's a thing. I don't know if the Seahawks defense is great by current standards. I don't know if a defense gets you there. Like at some point against all these good teams and good coaches, the Rams lit them up. Like the Rams absolutely lit them up. Other teams are going to light them up. You gotta be able to get to. You have to be the team that can get to 35 against any opponent, I think.
But the Seahawks could win this wide open tournament. Although the one concern is Darnold has been. His play was much better in the first half of the year. There's still a little concern there, but in this tournament, the Seahawks they're live.
Tommy's so right. I gotta go to the Pop-Tart Bowl next year. I tried to rally a few family members to maybe go to some of the other Florida Bowl games, but nobody bit. My wife is willing to go indulge the Iowa thing with me at the ReliaQuest Bowl this week, but I couldn't. Unfortunately, I could not get anyone to the Pop-Tart Bowl. I feel like if I show highlights of the Pop-Tart mascots at the Pop-Tart Bowl to some of the family members, I'll be able to get a little bit of. I'll get a nibble. I'll get some interest.
I love it. Good luck with that. That'll be fun. When is that? Wednesday is your game
It
you're
is
going to?
Wednesday, like noon Eastern, I think.
Oh, okay.
Meeting a few Iowa friends out there. There's nothing
Nice.
like the pageantry of an Outback / ReliaQuest Bowl at New Year's
Everyone
Eve.
knows that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you before we jumped on. This might be my 10th. I don't know. I've been to a lot. I've been to a lot of ReliaQuest / Outbacks. I'm something of an Outback Bowl scholar. People know that around here. Can't wait. What we got?
Yes, the toaster strudel over Pop Tart for sure. The blueberry toaster strudel. No question.
This is how it's done, by the way. You should prefer to stress about fantasy football as opposed to more existential, open-ended stuff. Yeah, if ever there was a moment in our history, in our time together on Earth, where you should just focus on your fantasy team and stress about that and channel all the nervous energy into that, we're in it. Good luck to everyone tonight. Dalton, thank you for doing this with me all season. These have been a blast. We'll find a way to keep this going during baseball season. I hope people stick around because we're gonna be covering baseball too. We'll be covering the NFL through the playoffs. We're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop just because your fantasy season's over. Hopefully your fantasy season is over. By the way, hopefully you don't drag this thing into week 18. That's a nightmare. But thanks to everyone. Dalton, huge thanks to you. Thanks for those who've jumped in with us. Really appreciate you guys. And good luck tonight. Good luck to me tonight. Good luck to you. Good luck to all of us.
Thanks all.